Shut up and sit down.
Hello and welcome to a North Wales side-by-side video. We finally finished this rat's nest of coolant pipes and emission pipes on Project Padfoot on my MR2, but I'm not ready to start Padfoot yet because I've got no air pipe on, I've got no battery tray in the car, I've got no battery on the car and no airbox. So I'm going back to an old school method of bleeding a coolant system. It's not as quick as having an engine that's actually capable of running and using the water pump to push the coolant through the system. But I'm going to use gravity to get as much of the air out as possible over today and tonight before I get everything back onto the car. I know I took 10 litres of coolant out of this car because I measured it. So I know I've got to put approximately 10 litres back in. I've got 5 litres in it up to now, and actually 6 litres in it up to now, because that's my coolant mix. So what I'm using is the header tank. It's at the highest point in the cooling system at the moment. So I'm going to use the header water in the coolant tank to slowly trickle feed the cooling system and let it just fill up naturally and slowly, and let it push as much air out as possible without running the engine. Once I've got about 8 litres in it and I've got everything back on the car, then I'll consider starting it and running backwards and forwards between the bleed nipples and bleeding it that way. But I want to get as much out as possible initially because I'm in no rush. Battery trays on the vise there. It's been sandblasted this morning. It's been primed, and I've just put the first coat of paint on the underside. Well, no, that's actually the top of it where the battery sits. Once that's dried, I'll turn it over and I'll paint the underneath of it. So whilst that's drying, I'm going to concentrate on an old school method of bleeding air out of a cooling system. Gravity. It's always worked in the past for me when I'm not in a position to start a car. Just trickle feed it bit by bit, a little bit of water here and a little bit of water there, and you'll slowly push 90% of the air out. You'll always get little bits trapped, and that's when the water pump comes into play and it can put the system under a bit of pressure and rev the engine up and push the water around. But for now, I'm going to rely on gravity. I'll let you know how I get on.